And welcome back to The Price of Business. This is Sigmund Kramer in for Kevin right now. I've got Lance Malone of Standard Supply. He's here. Well, he's actually up in North Texas. He's there. But he sounds like he's here. Lance, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Sigmund. How are you doing?
Well, it's a better day. I get to talk to you twice. Our listeners get to hear from you twice. So, listen, you've been with Standard Supply for a few years, but they've been around for a long time. When did they get started again?
Standard Supply was actually founded in 1946, so about 68 years ago.
Yeah, wow. And for those just joining us who may not have heard you in the last segment, what does Standard Supply do?
Well, we're a distributor of heating, air conditioning, refrigeration, and ventilation products. And what we do is we help the best contractors in Texas take care of their customers by providing the products that they need to install, repair, or replace air conditioners, refrigeration systems, and heating equipment.
Excellent.
And you can find out more about our company at ssdhvac.com. That's ssdhvac.com.
All right. And who do you have with you today to talk to our listeners?
Well, I've got my good friend Terry Kreuger with us today. Terry is the owner of Metro Heating and Cooling, and Metro has been a customer of Standard Supplies for a long, long time. But Terry and I actually do some hunting and things together outside of work, too, so it's really nice for me to have him here today.
Excellent.
You can find out about his company at metrohc.com. That's metrohc.com. Welcome to the show, Terry.
Thanks for having me, Lance.
Hey, I wanted to ask if you could tell us a little bit about your background in the air conditioning industry and tell us about Metro Heating and Cooling.
Sure. Well, I've been in the industry basically since 1971. I started as a little kid making 50 cents an hour, being a gopher for my father. And Metro Heating was founded in 1976. I've had the good fortune of working there since then. My mother and father retired in 1989, and me and my wife, Bobby, bought the business from them in 89, and we've owned the business for the last 25 years.
Outstanding. I know you kind of look at business differently than a lot of my customers do, and I want to start by asking you, when you go out to one of your customers and you recommend that they need to replace their air conditioning system, what's the first thing they typically want to know?
Well, this time of year is how quick can you put it in?
Right.
That's usually the most common question we get. And second is price. They all ask, how much is it going to cost me?
Right.
That seems to be their two main interests.
Well, and that's price, I guess, is a concern in just about any major purchase like that. You want to know how much something's going to cost. But you've told me before that your prices are higher than a lot of AC companies, and you're proud of it. So tell me what you mean by that.
Well, it's one of those pay me now or pay me later scenarios. When we go to a customer's location to work or replace on their system, we do it correctly. And if I have an option of using a little less expensive piece that I know is going to fail quicker than a piece that costs a little bit more, we believe in selling that little bit more expensive product, and it just adds a value to the whole deal. I mean, really what you're looking at is what does it cost in the lifetime of that equipment? It might be cheaper the first 2 months to put in using company A, or how much does it cost in the 10-year life of that product? So in our opinion, value is very, very important when choosing an air conditioning and heating system.
Okay. Well, we've mentioned before on the show that there aren't enough qualified technicians to meet the demand in the market for service. So what do you have to do to attract and retain good technicians?
Well, it's funny you asked, Lance, because I just recently changed my philosophy on that because of the fact there's just not any qualified technicians coming up. So what we're looking for is the right individual, the person who possesses all the skills and talents required, and we're basically growing them in-house.
Okay. So when you get them up to a level of where they have that knowledge that they need to be effective, what does that cost in comparison to these technicians that are just coming out of AC Tech school somewhere?
Well, it's expensive. Probably costs 4 times what the technician pays to go to the school.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really the only option we have to offer the kind of quality and service that we demand. It's the only way we can do it.
Sure. And you've told me recently that in order to keep those technicians that are really good, you have to pay them a lot of money.
You do, of course, and offer benefits and try to create the atmosphere within the company to want an employee to be a part of it. That's important as well.
Sure. Well, what does that do to your cost to operate your business?
It makes it a little more expensive, obviously, because of training and the time it takes to do what we're talking about. Okay.
So then that has to translate into what you charge your customers for the service you're able to provide.
Exactly.
Okay. What other costs are different in the way you run your business and the way some of your lower priced competitors do it?
Well, we have a 8,500 square foot facility that we operate out of. We have a administrative staff. We have health insurance provided to all of our employees, and we just try to run a professional business.
Yeah, there's some little things maybe that you don't even think about but are noticeable to an outsider like me, that you have nice, clean, new, well-maintained service vehicles.
Well, that's true. To us, image is very, very important. First impressions last forever.
Right. And I've also noticed that your technicians are always wearing very nice uniforms and professionally dressed.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we try to set ourselves apart.
I guess that goes a long way towards making your customer feel comfortable about who's coming into their home to work on their equipment.
Well, that's exactly what it's all about. They have to trust you and feel comfortable with you.
So what could potential customers expect from Metro that makes your service a better value, even at a higher price?
It's going to be done right. You can be assured that it will be done right always. And, we're humans. If we make a mistake, you can count on us coming back and making it right. That's the number one thing. You can count on us doing it right.
Outstanding. So what are some of the risks that a homeowner or a business takes on when they go with that low bidder when they're putting in a new air conditioner?
Well, an air conditioning system is really a pretty complicated thing. It's not like buying a washer and dryer or a refrigerator and taking it home and plugging it in. You've got an electrical system attached to it that has to be sized and working properly. You have a gas system a lot of the times on your gas equipment that has to be sized and put in properly. You have a venting system for that gas. You have a duct system, and you have a refrigeration system. There's 5 major components to a heating and air conditioning system, and we find a lot of companies that we compete with, they don't really understand the importance of the whole system. So if we go in your business or home and replace your system and we make sure all 5 components that are required to make it operate properly are in fact correct, that system can run trouble-free for 10 years, 10 years.
Right. So you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but explain the difference between the purchase price of a new air conditioner or heating system and the total cost of ownership.
Well, one thing we haven't talked about is the really high efficiency equipment available to us today. Our whole country seems to be going green, and people seem to be more concerned with polluting our earth and taking care of it. So you can actually purchase a top-of-the-line 20-plus SEER unit and get your money back. And at the same time, you're protecting our environment. You can think of it as like planting trees.
Right. And so let's say even if you go with a less efficient system, but you use a low-priced installation contractor to do it, how can your total cost of ownership be different in that scenario?
How many times it has to be fixed?
Right.
Is that the direction you're headed?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, typically, your customers are probably expecting to get 10, 12, maybe even 15-year life out of a new system. And you mentioned earlier that when you put one in, you're expecting it to run trouble-free for 10 years.
That's exactly right.
What if it's not put in right?
Well, you're going to have a lot of repairs, and most manufacturers have pretty good warranties on parts nowadays, but the contractors still have to charge for their time and their expense to getting there and administrative cost.
Yeah, and a lot of customers don't realize that, and we've even talked about that on the show before about they get a 10-year warranty and they expect when you show up in the third year it to be free.
That's right.
And it's not.
No, most contractors that I'm aware of guarantee their work for a year, and then the manufacturer's additional warranties kick in after that.
Right.
So it's not free. I mean, it's expensive, and making choices of what you buy and how you put it in are very, very important. They always should be considered.
Outstanding. Well, Terry, tell us about what we can do as your supplier to help you give that kind of service that you want to give to your customer.
Well, I tell you, rub off on some of your competition because honestly, Standard Supply provides unmatched, unparalleled service to our company, matched against any other company we buy from. And I'm not just saying that because me and you are friends. I've been buying from you for 38 years, and you really do run a good business. You provide the parts when we need them. I mean, I can't complain. Everything y'all do is top notch.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and I didn't have you on the show today just so you could brag on us, but that's what we're here for. The only way that you can look good to your customer is if the people you buy your products from to take care of them do their job, and that's what we're here for.
That's exactly right. We're only as good as the people that provide us the service and product that we sell.
So, Sigmund, we've had our guest Terry Kreuger today. Terry is, again, the owner of Metro Heating and Cooling. You can find out more about them at metrohc.com. That's metrohc.com. Or you can give them a call at 972-279-3400. And if you want to learn more about Standard Supply, you can find out more about us at ssdhvac.com. That's ssdhvac.com.
And I would suggest that everyone do so. Lance, thanks so much. And Terry, thanks so much. Folks, Kevin will be back with you tomorrow. In the interim, it was me and some of his wonderful contributors today on The Price of Business. Stay tuned for more right here on Business 1110 KTEK. We'll talk to you tomorrow.